Well, yet another season has come and gone, meaning it's time to stop talking about anything that aired last season and get ready to talk about another collection of like 30 shows, which will eventually decrease in size until we're only talking about maybe 3 of these shows over the next 3 months, until the cycle of torment continues. Damn it, bro! So yeah, welcome one and all to another edition of yours truly, Godzi, judging shows that haven't aired yet. It's a tried and true tradition here on my channel. Occasionally we get good videos out of this series. Hopefully this one isn't a sleeper. Time to copy and paste the rules from last season's script. I read the entries and watched the PVs for all of the Winter 2022 anime listed on AniChart and put them into 4 categories. Watching, maybe watching, not watching, and will eventually watch. As well, I have what's called a silence token, which lets me choose one show per season to avoid talking about, and said reason gets explained at the end of the video. So yeah, let's begin. Shingeki no Kyojin, the final season, part 2. Attack on Titan is one of those series that's been releasing seasons so fast that I just can't keep up with it. I've been meaning to watch season 2 since it came out I don't even know how long ago. It's almost surreal since there was, a 5-year gap between season 1 and 2. It was like a Half-Life 3 joke that whole time, and here we are at what I'm assuming is the actual end of the series. It feels like Attack on Titan has been pulling a Gintama for the past couple years, just throwing out, yeah, this is the last season, guys. And everyone falls for it again as they pull the football out from in front of us again. We're Charlie Brown, and Studio Mappa is Lucy. At least I think that's what her name was. Ari Fureta Shokugyo de Sekai Saikyo 2nd Season. Ari Fureta is one of those shows that I often hear people put in the category of so bad it's good. Now, shows like that are usually a guilty pleasure of mine. I watched Girlfriend to completion and loved to hate every second of it. The show's fucking garbage, don't get me wrong, but sometimes you'll see a garbage can with a clown nose juggling bowling pins. Problem is with Ari Fureta, it's an isekai. I've tried to watch isekai anime that are apparently complete dog shit but in a funny way and enjoy it, but I just don't think it's possible for me, honestly. I'm still not even sure why pure fantasy anime feels so different compared to isekai anime for me. Like, pure fantasy trash fests are way easier for me to sit through and ironically enjoy, while isekais have to be somewhat competent for me to even stomach them. Ari Fureta is one of those shows that I don't trust I'd be able to get any entertainment out of, even if the garbage can starts shoving swords down its throat. Shumatsu no Harem. This show got delayed from fall, so I kinda already talked about it, so I'll just copy and paste my entry from last time, because if they're allowed to delay their pseudo-porn, then I should be allowed to plagiarize myself, at least. Do I really have to explain myself? Do I really need to explain myself? I shouldn't have to explain myself, but god fucking damn it, fine, I'll explain myself. This is a power fantasy about fucking as many women as possible, because some guys are too horny for their own good. I'm not about to police what people write about, but this concept feels like it'd be damaging to society as a whole if it was too publicized. Well, that was easier than I thought it'd be. Quick side note though, I don't think porn is going to destroy society, I just think this show sounds insanely stupid. Vanitas no Carte Part 2. I was kind of pushing myself out of my comfort zone watching a Victorian vampire show plastered with Bishonen main characters, but this show unironically bangs. It's not as much of a mystery show as I would have liked, but the writing, characters, and world building feels on par with some of the most polished shonen anime out there, like Fire Force and Demon Slayer, but without the stupid shonen tropes like characters being horny in a pent-up way, and fan service that feels like it's thrown into their stories like darts were being thrown at the manuscript. Not to say that this show isn't horny though, because holy fuck, every character is fucking giving each other blood-sucking hickeys every other episode. I can totally imagine this show awakening something in some people, but not little squeamish me. I hate pain, and gore is icky, so I'm definitely not the target audience for the kinks they just sprinkle into this show. There's only been one time that I've ever reconsidered something I previously didn't like in that way while watching an anime, and it was, bear with me, that one episode of Uma Musume where some of the girls were wearing suits. Girls in suits are hot, what am I supposed to say? I know that's a weird show to get that from, but shut up and mind your business. Sono Bisque wa Koi wo Suru. I'll admit that the show looks pretty high quality and has an admittedly unique concept, what with the sewing and shit, but my main reservation about this show is that it just doesn't look all that gripping. Like, nothing in particular seems to set it apart from the rest of the high school rom-com genre. It's probably gonna be good, but if the only difference is just that the main guy likes sewing, and the main girl is a popular girl who likes cosplaying, then I'm not sure if that'll be enough to make it great. Of course, I shouldn't be so quick to judge, since this was the exact thing I thought about Jobless Reincarnation before it aired, and Horimiya is nothing special on the outset, but is one of the best romance anime in recent memory. I'll keep my hopes high for this show because the quality of it does look really promising. Princess Connect, Redive Season 2. I remember being entirely on the fence while this show was airing, but I've heard it's funny from people whose tastes I trust, so like a true free thinker, I will put this show on my list. There, that's the entry. Genjutsu Shugi Yusha no Okoku Saikenki Part 2. I'll just save y'all the time and say this. I can't really be fucked to write an entry for Season 2 of a show I only vaguely remember writing an entry for a few seasons ago. No one talked about this show, and I don't care enough to research it just to put a semi-related joke in my entry for it. So here's an unrelated joke instead. I went to the bar the other day. The owner asked me what I wanted. I said, "A piece of the bar, please." To which he quickly told me to leave. He continued polishing the bar with a wet washcloth. I asked him why he had such an attachment to this random bar he found on the side of the road. He told me to leave him alone, and that he never give a piece of his bar to anyone. And that's why I never want to be a bartender. Must be stressful. Karakai Jozu no Takagi-san 3. Okay, yet again I kinda can't be fucked. I won't make another bar joke though, instead I'll just remark that it's fucking insane that this probably mid-comedy anime got a third season before Yowamushi Pedal got another one. Yeah, Glory Line was only average, but come on, I'm starving over here. And hey, guess what? I don't fucking remember when I wrote this entry initially, but Yowamushi Pedal got another season announced shortly after I did it. Maybe I am a prophet. Check out my 2022 bingo card on my Twitter if you haven't. I predicted that Betty White was gonna die. Sasaki Tomiyano. This really just feels like Adachi and Shimamura, but with dudes instead of girls. It's not a complete reskin, but holy shit, the PV is so artsy-fartsy in a similar way, and it's just the two dudes looking at each other for 30 seconds, which was most of Adachi and Shimamura. That's not entirely a bad thing, though, since Adachi and Shimamura was pretty good, just again, very artsy and felt more like a book than a show. This is either going to be relatively okay or hot garbage, assuming the PV is any indication of its similarities for Adachi and Shimamura. Kenja no Deshi wa Nanoru Kenja. In a world of endless creativity, adventurers in this isekai MMORPG video game, whose name is ridiculously similar to that of Arknights, a young man who plays the role of an old guy named Dunbalf in this virtual world, somehow transports himself into the game as a young girl version of his avatar. Now, if this story is going to be even slightly competent and make the main character being in the body of the opposite sex an actually important detail, the story will either go the path of the main character having dysphoria in their now female body over the fact that they're a dude, or it'll go the other way as he realizes that he likes being a girl. That doesn't have to be the main plot, necessarily, but one or the other would have to be mentioned, at least. I'll admit, though, that during the PV, I felt like I got jump scared as the narrator was talking up the creativity potential of the world as a group of red houses turned into a bigger group of red houses, and I thought we were going to see it turn into an overview of the generic isekai city we've all come to know and love. This is a fantasy anime we're talking about, sadly. Therefore, I doubt the writing will be particularly competent unless we get lucky. Therefore, I can now only bank on the show being funny. Tensai Oji no Akaji Koka Saisei Jutsu. In this fantasy world, the genius prince of Fantasy Kingdom continues to enrich his country more and more by accidentally making good decisions that benefit it, while all he wants to do is live a peaceful life away from such responsibilities. Fantasy anime recently has really started to disappoint me. Like, bro, it's your kingdom. What you doing? How are you taking complete control of it yet not being able to sell it? Genius prince, my ass. You're dumb as fuck, bro. Really doubt there'll be anything worth watching here. Shikakuman no Saikyo Kenja. In this fantasy world, the black-haired protagonist rebirths himself from his previous life with a better crest for magic combat than before. But in this world, everyone has low standards for magical prowess. Now he sets off on an adventure, surrounded by random girls, to prove that he's good at magic. This is the biggest self-report of a synopsis I've ever heard. Let's run this down point by point. Black-haired protagonist? Kirito syndrome. This is supported as well by the fact that he was so strong in his previous life, he found out how to rebirth himself and attempt to get a better crest for magic combat. And worse yet, he got the best one on his first try! Low standards for magic combat just means he's even stronger than the average person by more than he'd be otherwise. Surrounded by girls? Basic harem bullshit. The show in general, easiest skip of the season so far. Koroshi Ai. Running down the list of some of the things, but not everything that I want in a story, in order to feel invested enough in it to immediately want to watch, read, or play it based on its genre real quick. The first thing is a mystery where the answer is either not obvious but still foreshadowed, or a mystery where the answer is very obvious but interesting enough for me to want to see whether it's just a red herring or if it's true so I can see its payoff. The second thing is seemingly strong characters with unique relationships established in the synopsis. The third thing is interesting themes or morals that challenge societal norms or reestablish a widely held moral value in a unique or thought-provoking way. That's not the actual order, but all of those things seem to be the case in the show, so I'm already hooked. In case you're wondering what some other things on the list are, we have an unhinged protagonist who either does shady stuff from the shadows or is outright the villain, unique motifs or symbols to represent the psychological aspects of the story, corrupt organizations and the ever-present implication of traitors potentially existing in the protagonist's sphere, potential resolutions to problems going off without a hitch when the story isn't complete yet, or in other words, the story feels like it's wrapping up even though you know it's not done yet. And one of my favorites is a character to hyperfixate on, either because they're cute or hilarious in a way that makes them shine in any scene they're in. I also really like funny stuff, and especially really fucked up looking stuff in horror. Hope that was introspective to anyone watching this. Mahoka Koko no Retose, Suioku Hen. I don't support incest. Orient. I don't mean to sound rude, but this just looks like the most regular-ass shonen anime with super tropey and basic, randomly generated character designs that look like they'd come out of an anime drawing book you'd see a high school sophomore take out of their backpack during study hall, whose concept just combines all of the popular shonen anime from Attack on Titan to Naruto to Demon Slayer and slaps a motorcycle on it. I don't care mode activated. Barao no Soretsu. Genuinely don't have a grip on what this show is. It just looks like a Shakespeare play, but with too many characters and the slightest amount of homosexual tension in one scene of the PV. Don't know what else to say without wasting our time here. Lidale no Daichi Nite. In this fantasy world... Ah! Okay, I'm good now. Honestly though, this show seems perfectly fine. I'm just sick of isekai fantasies. Why not make an isekai sci-fi? Make an isekai where they live with aliens or something. An isekai where it's the normal world, but just ever so slightly different in a subtly disturbing way. Whatever. On the bright side, this show doesn't look like it's going to try and take itself too seriously, so I'm fine with that. If I hear it's funny, then I'll watch it. Akebi-chan no Serafuku. I won't waste your time here. This is Komi-san, except Komi can communicate here. The concept is literally just, this is a girl who wanted to wear a sailor school uniform. So she applied to some random school with that kind of uniform, and now she wants 100 friends. Plagiarism is bad, kids. Sabikui Bisco. Like Suhi to Laika, or whatever that show from last season was called, this show is, for me, going to be this season's holy fuck what is happening show. I got the gist, yeah. There's rust that's destroying cities and killing people, and some dudes setting out to find a mushroom that'll fix that, and already we're wilding out here. We're in a post-apocalyptic world caused by killer rust that can be cured with mushrooms. And also there was a huge bird that got eaten by the worm from Dune, and also a crab that got thrown at something. I don't know, bro, but I do know that you already know. Doll's Frontline. This shit looks like Caconia without the flying, and with only girls with stupid weapons and stupider outfits. The gunfire sounds in the PV like stock effects from an 80s arcade game. The ones where you hold plastic guns that probably never get sanitized. Everything about this show just seems completely uninspired, like they just wanted to throw cute girls in outfits that I guess are supposed to be hot into sci-fi war zones with giant guns. It doesn't really work. Slow loop. So my main problem here is that despite the fact that this show is about fishing, there's literally no hook here. I know I've made this exact same joke before, it's not just you. So, unless I hear anything particularly positive about this show, I won't end up watching it. It looks like it could be a comfy slice of life in the same realm as, say, Yuru Camp, but at the same time it might just end up being boring as sin. Only time will tell. Tokyo 24-ku. First off, calling your three main characters RGB is super funny to me, don't know why. Second off, I just get really good vibes from this show. I don't know what to tell you. This show just looks pretty damn fun. Kinda meatheady, sure, but everyone needs a bit of that every now and then, including yours truly. Fantasy Bishoujo Juniku Oji Santo. A very pressing issue I see with this show is that this concept could very easily end up being done in horrible taste. If you have a character whose body gets swapped by force, not even necessarily to that of the opposite sex, you have to have some themes of identity to make it not be distasteful or only done for kicks. That's about all I have to say. I don't think this show is going to do anything except for fulfill some weird kinks of the minority of minorities of anime watchers. Hakuzume, Koban Joshi no Gyakushu. Okay, if I wanted to watch a show about pigs, then I'd just...
Hey folks, viewer mail time again. Oh, here's one from Sally, age 14. Dear Pig, aren't you interrupting the story at the most suspenseful part? Well, the answer is yes, Sally. Yes, I am. Keep those cards and letters coming.
Futsal Boys! There are 5 exclamation points in the title, yet there should only be one and then a 50% off sticker covering the rest, because this is the most bargain bin, hilariously bad-looking sports anime I've ever looked at. We've got the twinkest protagonist, the edgy secondary protagonist, an animation that appears to try too hard to be impressive to hide the fact that this story has no hook. I don't know how to play soccer, but maybe I'll take it up just so I can pass. Ryman's Club. I like to rip on sports anime, and having a second one in a row on this list made me really think that this was going to look like dog shit and earn this season's silence token. But instead, this show looks at least remotely competent, focusing more on the hobby side of sports from someone who wants to take it more seriously as an adult, after presumably failing to get any further with it as a kid. A more adult approach to sports stuff, I can appreciate that. Tribe 9. Watching the PV at first, I considered writing a joke about how each of these characters look like reject Danganronpa characters, but the resemblance became uncanny. I looked into it, and... Kodaka. You? Okay, but genuinely, Kodaka's last original anime, Akudama Drive, was spec-fucking-tacular, so I'm on board with this by default. It's like how I don't even need to know what Stephen King's latest book is about. I just know I'll probably like it because of the author. Maybe that's why J.K. Rowling fans are insufferable. Kaijin Kaihatsubu no Kuoritsu-san. This is the most generic and unintelligible show I've ever witnessed in one of these videos. There's been shows like Back Arrow and The Faraway Paladin that made me just go, yeah, that's an anime alright, but I got nothing here. Generic animation, a concept I can't make heads or tails of. The only saving grace it could have is decent writing and or good comedy. So, we'll see. Q! Q. The title made me think it'd be a sports anime about pool. You know, billiards. But the key art made me think it was cute girls playing pool. But then the description made me have the sad realization that it's fucking idols again! Genso Sangokushi Tengen Rei Shinki. Meitante Conan, Keisaku Gakko Hen, Wild Police Story. I mean, I don't fucking know, you tell me. Detective Conan is so long that by the time I were to catch up on it and watch this, I could have lost enough weight to fade into non-existence. Sayuki Reload, 0N. The PV was 15 seconds long, and that's all that really needs to be said here. Sabiro no Armor, Reimei. Remember when we used to have a seasonal trope of there always being at least one borderline hentai show, usually between a stacked office worker and like a prison guard or something? Yeah, I guess the seasonal trope now is crudely animated 3D sci-fi or sci-fi historical shows that look like shit. Sci-fi Nobunaga sounds cool, but what the fuck, man? Ninjala. The description for this PV-less show is boldly long, eat shit no one cares. The remaining shows are just shorts, which are either mad dog shit, lack a description, or are just another season of Yami Shibai. So that means we are done! This season's silence token was used on Genso Sangokushi Tengen Rei Shinki for the simple reason that I had no way to make fun of its description and it didn't have a PV. Ninjala got a pass only because it was the final show on the list. So now it's time to recap! I will be watching Vanitas no Karte Part 2, Koro Shiai, Sabikui Bisco, Tokyo 24-ku, and Tribe 9. I might be watching Sono Bisque-da wa Koi wo Suru, Sasaki Tomiyano, Kenja no Deshi wa Nanoru Kenja, Lidao no Daiichi Nite, Slow Loop, Ryman's Club, and Kaijin Kaihatsubu no Kuoritsu-san. Lastly, I will eventually watch Shingeki no Kyojin The Final Season Part 2, Princess Connect Redive Season 2, Karakai Jozu no Takagi-san 3, and I guess possibly Meitante Conan Keisaku Gakko Hen Wild Police Story eventually, maybe. So yeah, that's all for this season. Looks decently solid overall, but likely nowhere near as good as Winter from 2021. Who can be sure though? Some of the shows I ripped on may end up being absolute bangers after all. The exact thing happened with Jobless Reincarnation. Vice versa, with The Promised Neverland Season 2 apparently. Wouldn't know, didn't watch it, refused to acknowledge its existence. That's all for this video then, guys. If you liked it, then be sure to press the like button, and if you didn't like it, then fuck you too. Remember to subscribe, follow me on Twitter, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date on all my videos and stuff. And as always, my name is Godzi, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye!